I think historically, which it might be the word of this episode, religion has always been about business. You go into any of the history books, like, and this is in school, where they teach you like how they were doing the taxing and all type of bartering systems and laws that was being made. And this is why now we have the separation allegedly of church and state. But when you walk into the courtroom, you see in God we trust right there on the wall.
Bible.
Yeah, put your hand on the Bible.
Sure
all of these things. But whenever they needed money. And whenever they needed anything, and this is before, I'm not even talking about in this country, before we got here and they started, bringing their English ways of operating, they needed money, they would go in to get it from the churches. And they would use religion as a way into telling people like, hey, the king is asking for so-and-so, and the queen is asking for this.
It's control.
Yeah, that too. But I feel like it's always been a way to get business done and to get money done. Whenever you can't think of no other way, like you make it, God says to do it. That's how. Is that
my
what
beef
Kanye
about
is
what
doing?
you're saying is that's always been the case for them.
No, but no.
Black people.
Yes.
Black people are today.
Oh, because
yes.
I was gonna say I went
today.
to church.
Yes.
Let me. Where I was going to is I went to church recently. And it was just because I was like, I felt like it's something that I did when I was in prison. It was something that I was forced to do as a kid. Like I had to go to Sunday school. Then after Sunday school, I had to go sit in church with my grandmother. I was part of the choir. Like that was my life.
Did you have to go up to the little kids section? At the middle of the service, they'd be like, all the kids come up here?
I was part of the choir. Like I was involved in it. My grandmother was like on the board, so it was
a tenor.
You know what? We're not going into all that, okay? But I remember saying as a kid, like, yo, when I get old enough to where I don't have to come here, like, I'm not going no more. And that's what I did as I got older. And then when I was in prison, it was like a way that you could see some people and your friends that you wouldn't normally see. Like on Sunday, everybody would go sit in church. But I was older now, and I started listening to what was being said, and we would have pastors come in from outside. And I just started getting in touch more with my spirituality. I read the Bible in full twice.
Which one? Old or new?
Both, Old Testament, New Testament, twice, from beginning to end, like if it was a book. And when I came home, I was telling my husband, like, that's something that I want to do. Like, I want to do that. I want my children to do it because it gives you a sense of structure. There was things that I learned about in Sunday school that I learned in church, certain morals and values and principles, and I feel like that's missing now. Kids, my nieces, my nephews, even my little sisters, they never went to church. That's not even something that people do. Like I've been on panels and like, we need to start teaching this to our kids in church. And I'm like, miss, no one goes to church anymore. Like, especially not here in the Northeast where I'm at a lot. When I'm at my house in North Carolina, everything's shut down on Sunday. Like, forget about it. Everybody's in church. Like, nothing's even open. Forget about it. You might not even get something open on Monday because yesterday was Sunday. But
it should be closed on Monday.
Yeah, but I wanted to go to church, and someone recommended a church for me to go to. And when I tell you, I felt like I was being extorted at some point. I felt that it wasn't very personal. Like, I believe the pastor was sick that day, and he came out, and he told everybody that he was sick, and some big giant screen dropped from out of the ceiling, and he went behind door number 1, and then we watched it on the screen. And I'm like, I could have stayed home for this. And like 19 times I got passed around the little thing with the envelopes, and we take checks, and we take this. And then when I was walking out, I went past, I'm like, where's the bathroom? They were like, oh, go up, make a right or wherever they told me to go. I went the wrong way, and I ended up in a room with about 15 ATM machines lined up around the whole room.
Well, you went to like a mega church or something.
And I was just
that
like...
That was your thing,
Yeah, like you got
I didn't
get the key to go to the bathroom.
I didn't like it. I didn't like it. I didn't feel, and I felt like everything was about money.
I'm gonna tell you why I'm 100% with Remy on this particular topic, because everything that I've seen of modern religion is transactional, 100% transactional. Like she said, from the tax bracket on down. I mean, at least for me, growing up in the South in some of these churches, especially these big mega churches, it was that same level of elitism. Where to go to certain churches, you had to have gone to certain schools, be a member of certain sororities or fraternities. Like
all I keep hearing from you and Rem is this has been happening. That's not addressing how y'all feel about the fact that
so
it's
why
happening
should I feel some type of way
differently.
now?
I'm not
because
holding Kanye West to a different standard than I held Creflo Dollar or any of these other fake ass prosperity teachers.
All right. First of all, no one's tap dancing on anything. I don't know. I don't even know if Kanye West is Christian. Let's just be like that. Like I don't know what his religious
and you
beliefs
wouldn't
are.
know because at these Sunday services, he don't say a word.
Okay.
He paces back and forth and does like this.
I don't know what his beliefs are. I can't speak on that man. I don't know if he's doing this for money. Yeah, that's what some people say. Oh, he's only doing this because he's trying to get money. He's just like. Does it raise flags? Because I know, religion gives you these huge tax breaks, and now I know that they make $1.something trillion in this industry. So,
and before you knew that, does it raise a red flag that he appeared to be looking for tax breaks long before Mama Kardashian introduced him to this scam?
Listen to me. I can't speak
because that's a scam that the Kardashian family has run for quite some time.
About a church scam?
Yes.
Oh, I did not know that.
For me, it's not that he ran around and did all of this MAGA hat, Trump, TMZ bullshit. We all watched him do that. Mm-hmm. For me, it was about his deafness as it pertained to how black people responded to it. He almost act like he was tone deaf. He didn't understand what y'all was talking about. This is how I feel. Y'all need to acquiesce to this. Mm-hmm. It's not about him running around.
What if, and I've seen this before, once you do this, your way of repenting to whatever community you've wronged, do it through the cloak of Christianity and Christianhood. Do it through because it's hard to be mad at somebody, right, when they're in their faith walk.
I got a couple.
Do you see what I'm saying?
Not for me.
So you guys bring up a ton of interesting points. I'm of the Christian faith. I grew up in the church, similar to Remy. My relationship with the church my religion doesn't even come through the church, even though that's how I was introduced to it. A lot of it is funneled through actually my mother, right? Like I think about most of the ways I learned, like my tenants was like, her sitting us down and we read Proverbs. There's 31, there's enough for each day in the month. Mm-hmm. That's how I learned really the way I talk like that. You know what I mean? Like that's how I understand things. So I feel like I can't go in and say if he is legitimate, isn't legitimate. Who am I to say that? I'm with sin. But most of what we consume in black culture is the surface level. And then I bet you people turn on this program and other programs and the conversation we really have when it's just us, and they get a couple layers deeper and a couple layers deeper, a couple layers deeper. You took something that comes with a ton of depth and took the surface level of it, in my opinion, and now you're placing it out there. And yeah, you're flipping secular songs, which is dope and cool, and we all love that. I mean, there's something in us that loves it. But I'm worried about what comes next to this. If legitimate or not, whatever his intentions are, that's my standpoint of like, what comes next of you making this a commercial thing? It's always had commerce in it, but not removing even the flip of the hand. There's no more even like.
That's why I keep getting confused that both Ebony and Remy keep reverting back to just in any of these points pertaining to Kanye. Hey, but didn't that always exist?
But this is also different new because this doesn't even come with the word. This doesn't even come with the other things that are connected to it.
Actually, I did not know that. I did not know. There's no scripture?
It's intended to be absent of that, I was heard. Especially, I've been questioning this back in January, and I had a friend that was telling me she had gone in L.A. She's like, nah, it just makes you feel good. I'm like, yeah, I bet. But
Same.
As soon as you take something out and give it a surface level, they start telling you what you can do with it.
Any award show ceremony, he'll has to get up there and talk for 45 minutes.
It don't be at the award shows. Like when you think about, we turn the BET Awards. Some people, that's the first time they hear gospel all year because it's ours and it's this thing that's connected to us in a real way. And I was like, man, when you start taking it out of the place and you're moving the context, it can be manipulated. And so my thought about it is when you're talking about these preachers and these churches that do it, yes, historically, that's been a big portion of religion, period. But you're not even packaging with the other things that are context. And some people say, this church might be they're taking my money.
I have a question for you.
They're taking my money, but I'm going to show up because I caught the word and I caught the community that comes with it. I'm not saying this isn't that, but this gives me the feeling that you guys are talking about without the other things that feel more wholesome to me in my experience of going to the church and my experience as a religious person. That's how I feel.
I have a question for you, Jinx. You talk about the extraction of kind of the black cultural elements of a church gospel experience, this I'm paraphrasing, and the danger that comes with the extraction of it when it's not kind of wrapped in the totality of all that's intended.
Context
the word
matters.
Context. Got it. And that's your problem kind of with what Kanye's doing with the Sunday service. I just want to be clear with that.
That's not
the only one, but you're pointing that out as problematic.
That was something that I literally thought about a year ago,
Okay.
and then when I saw this, I was like, oh.
So that's problematic.
It's happening.
Okay. Is this problematic to you? If there's a church in Harlem, USA right now that allows, not for the full service, but for a portion of the Sunday morning 11 a.m. service, for a big long train of white folks in flip-flops, t-shirt, and shorts to walk in and pay essentially an admissions fee to sit at the top of the risers and watch black folk as if we're in a petri dish praise and worship. And then those same white people leave with kind of like you're saying, the extraction of the rest of the context. There's no scripture, there's no sermon, but they just watch the praise and worship, pay their entry fee, and go on about their business.
It's not the same at all. It's not the same.
I didn't say it was the same. I said, is that problematic? That was my question.
I think that's fucking weird.
But it's not
Are you referencing a real thing?
Yes,
Okay, that sounds nuts to me.
that happens. I don't want to out the church, but yes, right there on 138.
That sounds wild to me.
How is hold up, Jinx. How is that the same?
Because they're getting
as
a
what we are?
It's a portion.
No, it's not knock it the fuck off. No, they're getting a portion by their choice. That's not the service decided to do a portion.
Yes, the service said
think
y'all
that's what you
can't
said.
watch the whole joint. You get to come and watch black people sing, dance, and shout.
Oh, I didn't hear that part.
Yeah, praise and worship,
that's-
and then take your ass on. Thank you for your contribution to our service.
That sounds
That's
wild,
what's
and that
happening.
feels like the same sort of feeling in my stomach as what we're talking about. I can't say it's the same, but that just sounds
And so that's
wild.
all that back full circle. I mean, I'm gonna be done with it, Joe. That's why, because I have seen this, and this is not a one-off. This happens every fucking Sunday at some churches right here in New York. Okay. They're capitalizing off the tourist industry that comes to this city, and that's the same problem I have. So that's why I guess I'm not losing my shit on these services.
What is the big... First of all, I believe that people have... I don't want to say a revelation, but people can change. Their outlook on things change.
100%, I believe that.
Most of those,
course.
to me, I feel like most of those moments of clarity in times when you want to, probably reach a little bit more towards your faith is when you fuck up majorly or when you get a really bad down period and you feel like, damn, I wouldn't have made it out of this without the grace of God.
Right.
And you're not a minister, you're not a pastor, you probably would, if Kanye, you say he's not saying anything, he's just doing it. If he really did sit up there and try to give a sermon to preach, you'd really tear him a new asshole. Of course.
No, they would not.
No. I know what Rim's saying. And I can't say that also. Like, for instance, there's people, think about the choir in a church. That's their version of the ministry, right? Like, that's what you have to offer. There's people who just ushers. This is what my contribution to it is, right? There's
So
all that.
maybe he's like,
So
I have this big, huge following, right?
And I feel
And
that. But
I know how to fuck with music to make people feel something. Maybe, just maybe, you could find it in your fucking biased ass brain for Kanye West to think that maybe that's his contribution.
Yo,
maybe I can do that.
so-
and instead of them selling plate dinners for $5, maybe they can get this T-shirt. I have this fucking company that's been selling holy shirts and fucking selling them like hotcakes. Maybe we can sell that and put the word on that.
when I think about it, I rarely hear it extrapolated. I'd be in church from the top of the thing until the end. And so it comes with the context. And I think it ain't just a jam session.
Right.
But maybe
To me.
that's what's gonna get you in that vibe. Maybe you leave the jam session and you go home and you start, because it's wrapped in spirituality.
candy,
It's coming
yeah.
underneath the umbrella of religion and church.
Medicine with
you're
sugar.
Maybe you're gonna go home and be like, you know what? The next time you do
Maybe,
some shit, like,
yeah.
just maybe.
But I think both things can happen. I think you could have that happen, and I think
Don't
they could
look at me. That's
sell a
stupid,
soda.
expression.
Are y'all buying the album?
No, I'm not.
But also, like, who? You mean, will we listen to it?
Oh, streaming or
Would you listen to it?
I'm sure
He's
somebody
gonna
I
listen
know
to it.
will have it on.
We're all gonna listen
I didn't
to
hear
it.
his last
Somebody
album in
says
its
it's
entirety. I might not have heard his album before that in its entirety because I'm married to my beliefs, and when I don't fuck with people, I don't fuck with them.
I
Gotcha.
think if it drops, I'd listen, but it's also like I can't go into your events and I can't do all that thing. I can't buy the merch. I can't be a part of that whole thing. And it's weird to even sometimes go into, and they don't mean as much to me anymore. I think it's weird where sometimes I'm like, yo, I haven't heard Kanye in a minute. And I realize like, it's weird how your mind will do that. Just start to.
I haven't really
weird.
paid
It's-
attention to his music since 808 and Heartbeats,
No,
honestly.
I can't say that.
That's heartbreak, whatever.
I've been in it, but those heel
show you
turns
how
and those
much I
pivots
pay
have made it somewhat hard, especially for the newer stuff. So
Totally not weird to anybody that all of this behavior tailed him in his public rant about being
No,
a dad.
No, we acknowledged that
See,
earlier, Joe.
I can't even articulate it, but
Joe's annoying.
No, but
don't let him
We
drag you
literally,
into the
Remy said
criticism.
that an hour ago.
not
With facts?
It's still alarming.
Well, she needed more trouble. I didn't hear that from her. I heard, oh, it's historical.
I'm gonna tell you, I heard a conversation that was
after a year
Kanye
of
saying
fuck shit, he's
Kanye
doing
at a
this.
record shop, looking around for music and being like, "Yo, the people need this," and it was like, and when I heard that, I thought, yeah, maybe, but also, so do you. I think things can be. What you used in the first episode, it's not or, it's and that makes them highly complicated.
Well said. Great talk, guys. All right.